you gave 6 UPSC attempts, 7 rigorous years of preparation. And when I talk to you, there is no sadness, there is no remorse that you show now. You must have gone through that time. But how did you feel at that time? Every year you start, you give prelims, you give mains, you appear kind of in the interview, or you get left out of the interview by just 1 or 2 marks. Then start all over again from scratch, not knowing what would be my result. What was that feeling? And how did you overcome that? Because in this age of instant gratification, everybody wants just 3 months of preparation, first attempt I should clear. So hi everyone. Today I have with me Shami Seles. आपने सेलेस नाम से शायद कुछ याद आया होगा. मोनिका सेलेस एक टेनिस प्लेयर थे. सो इट्स नॉट अ कोइंसिडेंट दैट हर नेम इज सेलेस. इनके फादर बहुत बड़े टेनिस फैन थे और ये स्टोरी बताएंगी आपको इंटरव्यू में. यू कैन लिसन टू दैट. सो इंस्पायरिंग फ्रॉम हर इनको भी शमी सेलेस का नाम दिया गया. एंड whatever person is standing out here today, she is a very bold, calm person. मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि सब कुछ easy मिला है दिखेगा, but she has been through rigorous journey. 4 UPSC attempts दिए हैं, 2 mains interview दिए हैं, so it must not have been easy for her, but she still comes out as a very bold and a calm person who is sure that she will do something good in her future. और शायद एक ये बड़े यूनिक इनकी मुझे एक चीज़ लगी कि लोग जनरली हमारा कोर्स लेके तो पढ़ते ही हैं, बिना लिए भी बहुत लोग पढ़ते हैं हमारी समरी शीट्स, हमारे करंट अफेयर्स. शी इज़ वन ऑफ दैट रेयर पर्सनालिटी जिन्होंने हमारा कोर्स लिया बट ज़्यादा नहीं पढ़ा है बिकॉज इनके पास टाइम नहीं था. बट सुनने में लगता है कि बिना कोर्स पढ़े या बिना ज़्यादा प्रिपरेशन किए हाउ कुड वन मैनेज हिज और हर सिलेक्शन. बट अगेन आई वुड रिपीट कि इनकी जो 7 साल की मेहनत पहले रही है, जो यूपीएससी में इन्होंने घिसाई की है, दैट इज व्हाट हेल्प्ड हर टू रीच हियर टुडे. सो आई वेलकम यू and wish you best of luck for your future also.
Thank you.
My teammates might have some questions from you, so they will ask you in case they have any. Let's have any questions from the.
अभी भी यूपीएससी परस्यू करोगे कि सेटल होना?
Would you pursue UPSC
No.
still?
That's all.
She's
I'm
settled
done.
now. She feels that she's settled now.
I'm done.
She's done.
So आपने जैसे यूपीएससी में
Can we have questions in English because she would be more comfortable in
It
English.
takes a little slower for me to process it. So, yeah.
so you gave like 4 attempts in UPSC. So after 1 or 2 attempts, were you not tired, or were you not thinking to switch to private sector or some other examinations at that point of time?
I actually was preparing for six attempts, 4 mains, 2 interviews. But at the same time, I was also writing all the exams. I was writing exams without preparation as such. RBI also I've written before, but I did not know it was RBI, I just wrote. So I had gotten into Bank of India when I was 21, 22. I did not join. So there were exams I cleared. There were many exams I did not clear also. But I had kept writing exams without preparation as such. Why I did not give up was, I don't know, UPSC I mean, for all exams, it is kind of an addiction. Once you start writing, it's like you have to do it and only then you'll come out of it kind of a thing. That's why I kept going with UPSC. And UPSC, I was always like very marginally, just 2 marks, 3 marks, 4 marks from the cutoff. So I just kept giving over and over again. And I did not take any other exam seriously. That was one of the biggest problems. I think if I had taken RBI seriously during my time invested in UPSC, I would have probably, maybe the prospects in RBI would have been better for me as such.
So one more question from this. So you have given 6 attempts. So the internal and external pressure after a point of time, like after a few attempts, the internal pressure also starts accumulating and the external pressure is also there from family, relatives or friends, we can say. So but did you not feel the pressure, or how did you tackle that pressure if you felt?
Pressure, yes. So external pressure as such, what we put in ourselves only. Because my parents were very, very supportive. And they were the ones who blocked out all the other pressures which their peers or my relatives were putting. They did not let any of that come to me. But internal pressure, yes, after a couple of attempts, you see your friends either they are in US, after their MS is done, they are working, or then others who have, in UPSC itself, they are probably IAS, IPS, all that. So, yes, I would feel very down and all that. That is very natural part of any exam process. But I think despite that, you just take each day at a time and each exam at a time and keep going on. Because if you keep dwelling at the larger picture, you may not be able to actually see it when you're doing preparation every day.
Okay, one more question last.
Sure.
So, like sir said that you took our course, but you didn't like study from it. So, how did EduTap actually help you? Because you have come from a long way and you are here. So, how did EduTap actually help you out?
It's actually nice that you're asking the question because your video was the only thing I watched.
Thank you so much.
Because so for me, I did not have time. I was working full time and my job was also very hectic. I had to do hours over the regular time. So what I was looking at was, out of all the syllabus in RBI, finance was the only thing I did not know anything about. Everything else I knew something about, at least I can manage. So I thought, okay, whatever time I get, let me watch finance. And I took the basic course. It had so many videos, I had no time. And then I decided, okay, let me do the crash course. Crash course also again had 15, 16 videos. I had no time for that also because this was just 2-3 days before the exam. So I decided, okay, YouTube marathon, let's watch that marathon in a marathon. I put that on 2 and I watched that. Then I watched your current Finance 360 also. So that 2 were the only things I watched again and again also. Twice I watched marathon series itself. And Finance 360 also I watched some important episodes twice because nothing stood in my head even after watching it. I did not know the basics of finance, so it was like doing something reverse and it didn't really work. So I had to just manage finance in the exam. For that purpose, I only watched. No time, basically.
She has in fact written in her testimonial special mention a special mention about the free current affairs 360-degree initiative on YouTube. So let's have clap for Kritika. Ma'am, can you just put this on Wall of Fame? This is a standard procedure. So this is about you on our Wall of Fame. You can just hang it here. This photo seems to be older one.
That was first UPSC. I used it again and again.
So thank you guys. We would proceed with the interview and thanks for coming here.
Thank you.
Okay, ma'am, this is a Achievers badge.
Thank you, sir.
You can just wear it on your chest. Just let it be like this only. And this is a good read for you.
Thank you, sir.
This will help you be financially free, achieve financial freedom.
Thank you.
The achiever in today's podcast, sitting beside me, is Shami Seles. I find her as a very calm, composed, and a bold woman. But when I get into a journey, it was never easy for us. She is a product of 7 years of hard work that she has done in her UPSC journey. She has written 4 mains and given 2 UPSC interviews. तो वो सारी मेहनत which she has done over the years and years helped her crack RBI Grade B exam. And I want to tell you few more things about her which are very interesting. Normally, people who buy courses, they do read. People who do not buy courses, they also somehow arrange free material in terms of summary sheets or free current affairs. But she's one of those rare aspirants. She bought a course, but I would say she read it very selectively, very rarely I would say, hardly 20% max. और ये एक ऐसे लौते एस्पिरेंट है जो मैंने आज तक देखे हैं कि शी डिडंट प्रिपेयर मच फॉर फाइनेंस एट ऑल. शी डिडंट इवन अटेम्प्टेड द फाइनेंस डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन इन द एग्जाम. ये 4 क्वेश्चन की जगह शी जस्ट अटेम्प्टेड 3 क्वेश्चंस क्योंकि चौथा इनको आता ही नहीं था. शी लेफ्ट इट ब्लैंक अगेन विच इज़ वेरी रेयर. तो बहुत यूनिक एक्सपीरियंसेस रहे हैं इनसे बातचीत करने के. सोशल मीडिया में भी ये कहते हैं कि सर आई वॉज फुली देयर ऑन दी सोशल मीडिया बिकॉज आई हैड सीन इट ऑल. When I was preparing for UPSC, मैंने 2 साल social media नहीं देखा, but that was a bad decision I took. So she has different perspective towards everything than the common understanding we have all about the aspirants. So let's start discussion with her. So Shami, first of all, welcome to this podcast.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So how is the feeling after you got selected in RBI? That day, that moment when you saw that result, were you expecting your rank?
I was not at all expecting to clear, sir. So when the results came, I saw the number and then I was like, okay, let's recheck it once more. Is it really me? And then I was kind of relieved, sir. Okay, your life is set for 30 years. But my parents were the one who were actually happy because after 7-8 years, it finally paid off somewhere. It's not like it's all gone off. It's like that. It's paying off somewhere. That kind of happiness I could see on their face. And that made me happy. And I was very relieved because, finally it's like, okay, we can now rest, kind of a moment like that.
I have one very curious question on my side that normally people after giving 2-3 UPSC attempts, they start looking for backup and then they start preparing for RBI or something. Though you gave many exams apart from UPSC, but you never joined them. And RBI is one of them which you were not aware even initially.
Yes, sir.
So when did you become aware about RBI? What was your source?
So I had this friend who had cleared RBI Grade B in 2022, sir. Her name is Madhivatini, and she is also an IFS officer today, Foreign Service officer today. So she cleared after RBI. So she was my friend, and she was also a very veteran UPSC aspirant. And she was my motivation behind me writing RBI. She was the one who told me, okay, you should take this exam seriously and write this. And she was also the one who suggested EduTap incidentally. And so that is why she just said, you can study through this, you do this, and write this exam.
And you please also tell the story behind your name. I think that is very interesting. Viewers will love to hear that. So her name is Shami Seles, and that now resonates with Monica Seles, the great tennis player. Can you just tell the brief story about that?
So my dad is a huge tennis fan, and I also became a tennis fan because of him. So the story is that in 90s there was a huge rivalry between Steffi Graf and Monica Seles, and so Monica Seles gets stabbed by one of Steffi Graf's fans, and after that she makes a comeback in the 1996 Australia Open. And that was her title after her comeback. So, and I was born in that year, so my dad decided to name me after her.
So her dad is a fan of Monica Seles. Wow. If you don't know about Monica Seles and Steffi Graf, I think you have missed something in the 90s. So you must read about that. Anyways, coming back to your journey, you gave 6 UPSC attempts, 7 rigorous years of preparation. And when I talk to you, there is no sadness, there is no remorse that you show now. You must have gone through that time. But how did you feel at that time? Every year you give prelims, you give mains, you appear kind of in the interview, or you get left out of the interview by just 1 or 2 marks. Then start all over again from scratch, not knowing what would be my result. What was that feeling? And how did you overcome that? Because in this age of instant gratification, everybody wants just 3 months of preparation, first attempt, I should clear.
It is very, very difficult, sir, because even I was not a very patient person. So instant gratification was what even I was seeking in UPSC, but 1 year was my time. But I would say that, the exams such as any competitive exam in India is very humbling. And it teaches you a lot of perspectives where you learn to be patient, you learn to actually decide and focus on what you want in life. So yes, I had my downs, and there were many times when I was feeling very, very close to giving up. But even then it was like, okay, there would be some push in you. Okay, just take one step at a time. Okay, today if you're feeling down, then don't study, just sit down and watch TV. Tomorrow will be a better day, you can be more productive. That kind of attitude kept me taking each day at a time, kept me pushing forward, sir.
So you were always optimistic about your journey that I'll get through someday, I'll become something in my life.
Yes, sir. As in, at least that is what will help you drive your preparation, because we are stuck in our house. We need some motivation. And when the cycle begins, at least we should have that hope.
What were your stress busters during that time?
Of course, tennis, sir. I watch a lot of tennis, and also football.
You play football or watch football?
I watch football, sir. Of course, I don't play. But we can't afford that time, sir. But yeah, I follow tennis and football. And also other sports, if there is a Olympics, I watch it. Just sports as such help me, sir. And also, of course, normal TV, Korean dramas, you watch whatever comes.
So you're a TV guy.
Yeah, definitely.
And what was the reaction in your family? First 2 years they're very excited. Okay, हमारा बच्चा IAS बनेगा. But then they see year after year, no, you're not progressing, you're not getting results. Were they supportive enough?
They were very, very supportive, sir. And maybe they would have had that disappointment why she, despite all that academic excellence and all that, why is she not able to clear
But it
this
didn't
exam?
show you.
But they never showed me, and I think it's natural for them to have that because even I am having that feeling when I'm preparing for exam. It's very natural that they should have had it, but they never showed me once. They were always supportive. Even after my sixth attempt, they were like, whatever you want to do, you do. There was no pressure of marriage. There was no pressure of go to this job, go to that job. Nothing.
And what about that external pressure from so-called relatives? Iska kya hoga? She will not make it through.
Actually, this is also a very unique story. Most of my relatives did not know what I was doing.
Okay.
So they were just confused most of the time.
That what is she doing after
Yeah,
graduating?
and I never really told them, okay, I'm preparing for UPSC or IAS or nothing. I never told them. But then I'm trying for some government job. Whatever government job I get, I'll be happy. I was in that kind of a mode. And then they were like, okay, you're still preparing for a government job. Yes, sir. That's the reaction. And since I moved into a city, my parents moved long back. Not much of a daily contact. So that somehow helped.
Acha, tell me, you were working. She just joined a job 8 months back, where she was selected through some UPSC process because she has given UPSC interview. So she was directly called for the interview. The organization is SIPCOT.
SIPCOT, yes, sir.
What's the full form?
So it's the State Industries Promotion Corporation of Tamil Nadu. It's a state PSU under the Department of Industries and Commerce of Tamil Nadu.
So how did you manage your time? Because right now you were working and suddenly you decide to prepare and appear for RBI. I know, I mean, through the talks with her, you will get a feeling she didn't prepare much. But again, I'll repeat that it's a 7 years of rigorous preparation that she has done in UPSC. Now, that's why she made it very easily. But how did you manage your time? Matlab, how did you think? Because you didn't have time that I'll prepare this, I'll not prepare this. How did you rather prioritize the things?
So it was more like I had a friend who was very supportive in terms of strategy and what she was a full-time RBI aspirant for 3 years. So that strategy helped. I just blindly followed that strategy. And time as such, whenever I had time, when you're traveling or when you're in the car, you just put that into 2 video and watch whatever was there. And I was not sitting idle. Either I'll keep watching this or I'll keep just scrolling through the MCQs, whatever is I could see which visible. So this way I kept spending my time, and my priority was to do things which I know nothing about. There were finance, I was zero. So I decided, okay, let me at least make it one. Others I thought I could manage with
Yes,
UPSC.
I can manage.
I can manage English.
Management through pub-ed you could manage
Yeah,
in your
yes,
UPSC background. Social media ke bare mein you told me that normally people say I just shut off my phone, I was out of Instagram, but you are the one who told me that I was all over. I was all over. And you say it with very boldness that I enjoyed it. So tell me about that. How you are different from others? People are avoiding social media and you are on social media and enjoying it while preparing for competitive exams.
So there is these two things. So one thing is that when I was initially in my UPSC, I had cut off. So that time there was only Facebook, and I had cut that off. And it felt like too blank and too numb. Your life is so boring. And then you needed some colors. So social media will give that colors. But provided you know how to use it and how much to use it. Both of that was important. And there was also another aspect which will help in the exams as such. Is Instagram has this World Economic Forum's page. There is World Bank page. All these has interesting case studies from across the world. What UN is experimenting in Africa, what models worked in South Asia, what the in financial inclusion aspect. Like that, you can pick up examples and case studies and load it in your answers, both in ESI or even in some case studies for management. I had used all this extensively in UPSC also and this also.
In descriptive writing in RBI.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, you use Instagram, you are doing it for leisure, but meanwhile you learn also out of
Yes,
it.
sir. So you take both. It's not like you only follow your friends, follow World Economic Forum also.
Chalo, let's move on to the strategy part now. I know you had very less time and you prioritized things, and although she had the EduTap course, but she used it very selectively and now very rarely, I would say. So first of all, let's start with phase one. Phase one, quant and reasoning. You told me that you didn't prepare much. You had a knack of solving questions by itself on quant and reasoning right from your college days. So still, if you did something, can you tell our viewers what did you do in quant and reasoning before the paper?
So, before the paper, I saw previous year's questions. I saw the syllabus also, and decided to see the cutoff also. And now I had to choose the number of questions I had to do, and with what accuracy I had to do. So if I could attend some 7 to 8 questions within that time slot in selective manner with 100% accuracy, I will be through the sectional cutoff. So that was my strategy. And I attended the data interpretation question, so 5 marks is sorted.
In quant.
And another 5 marks, I thought, okay, if quadratic equations comes, I'll solve that, or if there's profit or loss, I'll solve that, or if there's simplify, I'll solve that.
So you made this strategy, or one of your friends
This
told
was
you?
my friend. This whatever I'm sharing is my friend's strategy.
Who is who is preparing full time
Yes,
for
sir.
RBI?
Yes, sir. Yes.
And what about reasoning?
Sir, reasoning also it was the same. So reasoning, I thought, okay, whatever is easy, I will solve, because reasoning, it was about reducing the time. And if I'm not able to solve the question, I'll move it and I'll keep doing the next one. It was like
So is there any strategy to select questions? Because as you said, whatever easy, I'll solve it out.
Yeah.
So how do you find it just by looking at it that it looks easy? Because it is short.
No, sir. I never really looked at it and thought it was easy. I started working it out, and if I would able to solve it in one go, then it is like it is easy for me. If I was getting stuck somewhere within the next 20 seconds, that means there is something else in it. So I just
So 20 to 30 seconds, if you're not able to get through,
move on.
you just move on.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you give sectional test for quant or reasoning, or no? And in the exam also you followed the same approach.
Yes. So only difference is that in quants, what I did was initially I saw all the questions, all the 30 questions. In the first 2 minutes, I allotted just to see the questions, skim the questions, and select the questions. In reasoning, I did not do that. I went from one to last.
In quant, basically, you want to make sure ke how many questions are from quadratic, how many questions are
Yes.
from DI, so that you can plan.
Yes.
Okay. Coming on to the GA. Now, you told me that you didn't prepare much for GA.
Yes, sir.
So, was it just your newspaper reading that you are in habit of reading since your UPSC years, and you're still doing it, that helped you score good in GA?
Yes, sir, definitely. I was very diligently reading newspapers, sir. That also 1 or 2 newspapers I keeping a tab of, and that was what has actually helped me. And of course, when you skim through questions that you see on YouTube once or twice, you'll be able to connect the dots. So that way, and also the problem elimination technique that I've gathered from my UPSC, I used all of that together into this GA, sir.
And when we talk about GA section, how did you manage your time in the paper?
So
I mean, again, did you read through all the, or you see through all the questions, or you go one by one, and whatever you're able to solve, you solved it?
I went from first to last, sir.
First to
and
last.
Whichever I did not know, I left it. I left very few questions because hardly 4 or 5 questions I would have left.
What about lengthy questions? Were you reading them fully?
Yes, sir, because I could read them fully. I could read all the options because, again, UPSC, sir.
Okay. So it was like to and fro. Read the paragraph, read the options, and get a
No,
knack.
sir, my thing is, if there was a larger question, I see the options first and then go to the question.
Then go to the question to find out that what exactly is being asked where.
Yes, yes.
And which newspaper do you read on daily basis, which helped you?
On daily basis, I used to read the Hindu, but afterwards I shift to Indian Express because I think for exams, Indian Express serves the purpose more and it is more to the point. So I think Indian Express is something I'd recommend.
Okay. And about English for phase 1?
So
I mean, you have studied in a good school, so that have been just
yes, sir, I did not really
easy
do
thing
much.
for you.
I just wrote it.
Okay. So here again, I want to tell you again, which I've been repeating through this interview, that her strategy might seem very simple, very easy, but I think she has a gift of quant and reasoning, which she was able to handle very easily. Though she learned the technique of being selective and moving forward if she's not able to solve the questions. GA, I think she has built it over a period of time, and that is what helped. And she also told me, which I forgot to ask, that RBI notifications, which formed a great chunk in phase 1, around 20 marks, she could not attempt more than 8 to 10, and whatever she could attempt 8 to 10, that was just out of elimination technique or guesswork, because she didn't have much knowledge about them, because unhone tayari nahi ki thi.
Exactly, sir.
So there comes the experience, there comes your previous knowledge, there comes your hard work, which is there for you to stand now and help you. Now let's move on to phase 2 part. Phase 2 mein you must have goosebumps when the result was out, that maybe I can clear now, I should give my best. So did you prepare effectively in those remaining 30-40 days?
Again, no, sir, because I was on. There was a lot of work for me and there were so many responsibilities, so I could not really evade them.
Sipcot wale, they were taking a lot of work from
Yes,
you.
sir, because again, AGM there, we had to do a lot of direct reporting to MD and all that. And also, I took leave only for last 2-3 days I had
2-3 days.
very less leave, and even in that leave I had to do some work from home, so I could not really concentrate on this preparation much. So then I decided, okay, it was Sunday was the exam, Thursday I decided, okay, this is a gone thing, let's just do what we can. And then I decided, okay, management, my optional was public administration, management was the syllabus was a complete overlap, so I decided let's not touch that. I thought I'll manage something with whatever mains knowledge I had. English, I just tried 1 or 2 mocks, and I just, because each English thing is different, so I thought I'll try that.
But English, did you write the test and get them evaluated?
Yes, sir, I did 1 mock test, I had got it evaluated also.
And what was your experience in the evaluation? How it is different from UPS? First of all, the overall quality of evaluation, and how do you see that evaluation parameters are kind of different in RBI as compared to UPSC?
Yes, sir, because so the evaluation, the feedback as such, I mean, it was very instantaneous. I got the feedback within 24 hours. Because usually you just write a mock and you forget about it, and suddenly one day it comes. But this was not like that. Immediately I got the thing. And I think the marks were also like, they had highlighted where there was a gap or where there was a lack of continuity. It was not like all rosy, but you actually had a point where you can take out something from it. So that was the best part. And in UPSC, there is a compulsory English paper which you have to score minimum percentage to clear. And they had the same pressy writing essay, or it's a repetition, sir. But the way it is marked, I think, is different, because here there is a little more rigorous marking for RBI, because it counts into your overall score. So I think this is more scientific and systematic. I wouldn't say that we are not aware how the evaluation is, but I feel because it is just qualifying, we also don't give much thought into it.
It doesn't matter you get 40 or 45 or 50.
Yeah, we are
you just
done
have to
with it.
qualify.
Yes.
Here, I think that every mark.
Yes, it matters. So that is why we try to boost our scores through it.
I'll just tell her score also. For phase 1, she said that she didn't remember, and we didn't care enough to check because it was right 7-8 marks above the cutoff. So in mid 70s you can call, because cutoff was 67. For phase 2, her marks, first of all, her total is 235. The cutoff this year, I think, is 226. So she is around 8 to 9 marks above the cutoff. ESI objective, she has 33.75. ESI descriptive, she has 34. Overall 67 in ESI, which is very good. I think she scored around 10 to 12 marks above the average marks that most of the candidates would have scored. English, she has scored 63, very good marks again. FM, she scored less comparatively, 25 in objective, 27 in descriptive. And जो इनके descriptive में कम marks हैं 27, that is basically due to the reason कि she could just attempt 3 questions. उनको finance का question आता ही नहीं था, 3 management के आते थे, she did them. So total in FM is 52. ठीक है, और interview में also she got 52 marks. And total is 235. So, and management we have discussed. You just relied on your public administration theories and knowledge. ESI, I know, I mean, with UPSC background, there is not much to read. You understand basic concepts and you know how to write descriptive answers. How did you manage finance? You have been repeatedly telling me that finance was one of the areas where you thought, okay, yeah, no, this is an Achilles heel for me.
Yes.
So, how did you manage in short period of time? Because finance is not something that you can study in one night.
It's a bad management, sir, because I did not have time again. So I thought, okay, since it is finance and management together, equal weightage would be for both of it. Let me do my best in management and try to do whatever I can in finance. So objective as such, I attended the questions, sir, but I was very cautious in attending lesser number of questions so that it doesn't come as negative marking for the objective part. For the descriptive part, I did not attend the answer. I chose all the management answers as much as I could. If I could have chosen another management, I would have chosen that. And I spent all the time I could have spent on a 15-marker finance answer on my management answers. I improved the quality of the answers more and left out the entire finance answer. So after coming out of the exam, no, it was actually not on purpose. I didn't plan on doing it when I entered the hall. And when I saw the questions also, that was not my plan. I chose a question thinking, okay, I will write some generic answer and come back. But when I started writing management, I was like, okay, this is not going to work. Let me do this and see. Because in UPSC, what we usually do is that we write all the questions and come. And some of them are very shady answers. So I would rather have a better answer. I thought, okay, maybe if my quality of answers are good, maybe it will score well. And I decided to focus on management because I had a USP there. My case studies would have been a little different from what people usually write in an RBI exam. So I tried to use it to my advantage.
It was a gamble that paid
Total
off.
gamble.
But I would request everyone to please write all the answers, whatever you know. If you don't know even A, then maybe you can leave it. But if you know ABC, just try to expand upon
No,
it.
sir. It is out of all the choices, at least one finance answer you should have known something. It's this
I
was
think they were
yeah.
difficult. One was on YT bonds,
Yes,
something like
bonds
that.
and
And but I think growth and investment, difference between growth and investment, you could have written something. I think
I was just so engrossed in management.
you would have studied that in UPSC or basic exam, but anyways, the past is past. And how did you prepare for that? Because that would have been nightmare for you.
Yes.
What did you do? You read all the chapters, watched some marathons. What did you do?
Yes, sir. So I initially thought I'll watch all the finance videos at least from EduTap.
But
I did not have time.
just in 2 days,
Yeah,
2-3 days.
I did not have time. Even in speed, it was not possible. Then I thought at least the crash course videos, even that was 18 videos, and into 2 had so many hours. So I decided, okay, let me just watch the marathon video on YouTube. I watched that twice. I watched the current affairs Finance 360
By
current affairs
Kritika
by
ma'am.
Kritika ma'am. That I watched it. That also I watched a couple of episodes so that I could use examples at least from that and some other answer. For that purposes, I kept watching. But what I was trying to do was basically reverse engineering. Learn the current affairs and then go for the basic, which is a very wrong strategy for finance. It didn't work. I decided in the heat of the moment to just leave the answer there. So that didn't work, sir. But
And what about the current affairs like schemes and reports that come in ESI? Because you were not doing UPSC preparation now, so there were many areas which you might not have read through newspapers or something. So did you go through some document like schemes document or reports document?
I had downloaded the documents and skimmed through it, sir. But it was more of a revision for me because I had already many of the schemes are just repetitive. 1 or 2 new schemes you'll have. So I just did a revision of this. You just skimming through it when I would have spent hardly 2 hours on all of the PDFs together, as much as I could download and watch.
So you were just focusing on something which you don't know
Yeah.
anything about,
Yes.
and rest. Even if you know 60%, leave it because you don't have time.
Even if I knew 25%, I just left it, sir, because I had 0% knowledge on certain things. So it was that strategy.
that is how you prioritize at the last moment. But again, I mean, it's our hard work of the past that is paying off now. And I think we have discussed all the aspects. Anything else you want to tell? How was your experience of descriptive writing in the exam? How was the interface? Many people tell that interface is really bad. It's not as easy as you would assume.
Yes, I mean, I am used to that. We know that in an exam setting, it's a harsh environment, sir. So I was not really expecting it to be very good. And my center even had a par cut in the middle. So for there was again the pace was shifting and all that. Keyboards are bad. The list of complaints goes on and on when it comes to typing. And for me, typing also is a new ball game because I'm used to writing answers. Now we have to type it out. So that was. I didn't really practice much because I knew my typing speed was good. But I would generally recommend people to test out your typing speed. If it is good enough, then go for it. Then you can relax. Otherwise, it's best you practice that also.
So typing speed, according to you, is important.
Yeah, very important.
And how did you make the shift from UPSC physical writing to RBI online writing? Was it a challenge, or since you were working on keyboards and all in
No,
your
I
job,
didn't find it much of a challenge, sir.
and you didn't practice much? It comes very easy to you.
Initially when that Thursday before the exam, I just decided, okay, 1 minute, let me type and see what my typing speed is. Okay, okay, I can type some 70, 80 words. Okay,
Fine.
cool.
Let's move on to the interview.
Yes,
So where did your interview happen? In Chennai.
Chennai, yes, sir.
So can you just briefly tell about that day? What happened?
Yes, sir.
Huh.
So
She has the interview script with her, so you can just refer to her.
Yes.
Refer to it, sorry, and tell our viewers in brief about what were the questions and what did you answer.
So I was the second person to go into the room, and it was the third day, the last day of the interview in Chennai, sir. And there were just 2 women, 10 men were there. And so I was the second one to go. My interview went for 35.
2 women and 10 men.
Yes, sir.
12 people were sitting there in the interview room.
Yes.
12 panel members.
No, sir. I'm talking about the candidates.
Okay,
the
candidates. Okay.
The panel member, there were 6 members.
6
so
members,
1 women and 5 men. And so the questions, it went for 35 to 40 minutes, sir. So that was a little longer than usual, but it was fine. So questions were like, I could categorize it as 3, sir. One was based on my job. So why, how did you get into the job? what is your job profile, questions on my job profile related to administration, how is it different from how RBI would be in your perspective, those kind of questions. The second kind of questions were more factual. These were like, what is a legal tender, what is CBDC versus cryptocurrency, what is
Little
the
bit on
difference,
basic financial
basic
knowledge.
financial questions. And then the third kind of questions were more opinionated questions. So 4 steps to improve financial literacy in schools, give me 4-step strategy. This was one of the answers where I also felt good after giving the answer. But then there were other answers which so then there was one more question. This was related to compare the balance sheet of RBI with the balance sheet of your state PSU.
Wow.
And basic level, I was just giving a very generic 2-3 points, and then they were like, tell me something more specific. Sir, I don't know, sir, I'm sorry. I just surrendered. So, and I think it's quite okay to say I don't know in an interview, because ultimately it's about how calm, composed you are. And
I
how
think
you
rather
do it.
than blabbering out something which
Yes.
will go against you, it's better to say I don't know.
Yes.
And they're not also expecting that you give answer to everything.
Yes, sir. In fact, the board was very supportive. They were very graciously saying, okay, so 7 years of UPSC preparation, so you just tell me whatever theoretically you know, because practical level your experience would be a little lesser than what it is compared to a working aspirant. By job as such, they asked all practical questions. That was okay.
So that you were able to answer.
Yes.
And how did you prepare for your interview? Obviously, you would have gone through the RBI website about your biodata and all. Anything particular that you would like to tell candidates that while preparing, focus on this thing before appearing in the interview?
Sir, so for an interview, I would say from my experience, even with UPSC, this would go for all interviews. One is the knowledge aspect, and the other is your personality aspect. So, knowledge aspect, there is no end to learning. I would recommend you to keep a tab of the current affairs and keep reading it as much as possible. But this personality aspect, you cannot change your personality overnight just for an exam. But what you can do is certain traits on how you give an interview, how you sit down, your posture,
How do you dress
speak
up?
to them, how you dress up, how you carry yourself. That's
Yes.
ultimately what is going to determine how much marks. Because finally, the board is going to have an impression of what you left and not a checklist of the answers you've given. So that would probably give you the marks. So
And did you appear in any mock interview before the actual interview?
I had attended the EduTap mock interview, so that was the only mock interview I had attended.
So how was the experience there, and what did you learn out of that mock interview that no you should be doing for the actual interview?
That mock interview taught me I knew nothing, sir. So after that, I started learning. So there were a lot of questions on finance and RBI, absolutely things I did not know about. And of course, I had prepared something for the mock, but not enough. I itself knew I was not prepared, but I just sat for the interview just to get a list of questions at least, and how did interview would go, because this was a different kind of interview. And I would say the feeling of the mock interview was somewhat similar to what I was actually having in the actual interview also. The way the questions were asked, or the kind of questions that were framed, were all very relevant and to the point.
I think that also comes from the fact that most of the interview panelists who are taking these mock interviews, they are from the same background.
Exactly.
So they know that how do RBI officers carry themselves, how do they think from your answer, how do they will cross question you, and similarly our panel will cross question you.
Exactly.
So I think that experience helps.
Definitely.
So that's it. It was really nice talking to you, and I mean, I'm just in awe of the things that you have achieved after going through such a arduous journey. It is never easy to have a comeback after 7 years of rigorous padai and not getting the result. And I hope that you have a very settled life now. A government job lena is a dream of every aspirant, and you have got it. Your parents would be happy. Anything that you would like to tell aspirants, particularly about the struggle, mental struggle? Because many aspirants, just after 1 or 2 attempts, they become mentally weak, and it is very tough to come out of that. You can study 10 hours a day. If you would have been studying 6 hours a day, that is not a problem. Most of the aspirants can do that. But when you are mentally down, it takes a lot of effort to come out of that. How would you now just motivate them?
Choose your friends wisely, sir. So you have to cut out bad friends, bad companions, and keep good ones very close to you. Because for me, as such, my parents were supportive indeed, but your parents may not be able to understand every day's pain that you go through, but your fellow aspirant will. So I think if you could keep them close and support each other as much as you can, it would be very helpful. In fact, I kept repeating about friends. Why one friend is the one who introduced me to this exam. One friend was the one I called just the morning of phase 1 to tell me, give me some strategy for this exam. And these people did not hold back at all. They gave me the strategy entirely. They gave me the strategy. They didn't look at me as another competition. And as soon as the results came, they were the ones who were very happy to check out my results and tell me, okay, you've cleared, congratulations. So that kind of a friendship is, if that could be there, your mental health is kind of sorted, because you know, you just need to let out how you're feeling, and that kind of feeling you can enjoy with your friends. And on days when you are down, don't just sit in front of the book and cram in front of the books, because it's not really going to help. Your productivity is very low and you'll not have retention at all. So it's better that days you take off, take regular time off, practice a hobby, and the hobby can become a skill itself. You can freelance if you want to, if you're under a compulsion to, but please have a hobby. I mean, your life is not just about writing an exam and clearing an exam. Your life is more, it's about the memories and the experience, and this exam is just one of those experiences you will have in your 20s. So you start off in your early 20s or your late 20s, and don't make it a life of regret. If you look back at 7 years or 10 years, there should also be memories in your life.
Exactly, and her words struck me hard, because I've also been that kind of aspirant in my 20s, where I always wanted to achieve ye karna hai, wo karna hai. Though I enjoyed my life a lot, but still I would have regrets, because I would have enjoyed a lot more if I would have been relaxed, thinking that I have to just learn from my experiences, enjoy them, and there is no particular destination I want to reach. So I think it's a very good advice. And friends, I cannot tell you their importance in 40s and 50s. Forget about 20s. Exam is nothing. I mean, this exam is nothing. You have hell lot of bad time in your life, in your 30s, in your 40s. Something or the other would strike you. You, your family, your kids, and that time your friends. Their support will help you sail through. So with that, we take your leave and wish you best of luck, guys. तैयारी करनी है, बट सही फ्रेम ऑफ माइंड से, अच्छे से पॉजिटिव सोच के साथ एक आउटकम को इमेजिन करते हुए. बाय बाय.